What if your best people are not leaving for more money? What if they're leaving because they can no longer see their future inside their company? Many organizations try to solve retention with better pay, stronger benefits, more engagement, or even a nicer culture. Those things matter, but they're not always enough to keep highly skilled professionals long term. When talented people leave, it creates more than a staffing problem. It drains profits, disrupts momentum, weakens customer experience, and quietly costs far more than companies realize. On this episode with Profit with a Plan, we're looking at the real reasons skilled professionals leave and while traditional retention strategies often fail, and what leaders can do to build a workplace where great people actually want to stay. Because people do not just stay where they're appreciated, they stay where they have the greatest future. Hey, entrepreneurs, are you working too hard for too little profit? Well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, the podcast where we help business owners grow smarter, increase profitability, and build a company that's worth more, whether you plan to keep it or sell it. I'm Marcia, Riner, business growth strategist and the profit booster behind Infinite Profit. Each week, I bring you practical strategies, expert insights, and real-world steps to help you grow revenue, improve margins, and build a stronger business. Today's episode is brought to you by Infinite Profit, where strategy turns into profitable growth. But before we jump in, I have something special for you. If your revenue is plateaued, or maybe your marketing is not producing the return it should, I encourage you to go get the free Profit Booster Growth Map. In just a few minutes, it helps you identify where to bring in more qualified clients and maybe where the profit leaks might be costing you more money than you think. Go get yours after the show at profitbooster.biz, and there's no sales call required. Now let's get into today's conversation. My guest today is David Alemian. Why do I stumbled on it? I stumbled on it again. David, I apologize. David Alemian is one of the leading experts in talent retention and the creator of the Alemian retention system. For more than 30 years, he's been helping organizations solve one of the most expensive and frustrating problems in business, keeping highly skilled professionals. His work challenges the usual thinking around retention. It's not about better pay, better perks, or employee engagement programs. David teaches that people stay where their future is the strongest. And when leaders understand that, they can build a more stable, committed, and competitive workforce. He's also the author of People Stay Where Their Future is the Strongest, and his highlights or his insights have been featured in leading business and medical publications. David, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast. Hopefully your mouth is working better than mine is.
Oh, you're doing fine. Oh, by the way, it's Alemian, but that's
Alemian.
okay.
I wrote it
There
down
you
and I wrote it
go.
down and it's like, okay, one more time.
It's Alemian. And by the way,
Alemian. Okay.
you should see how some people do it. It's,
Gosh, and I
it's
thought
fun.
Marcia to or Marcia from Marcia is always my, trouble, but that's minute compared to yours. So I
We're
appreciate your
fine.
your
It's
your
all good.
understanding. I know, right? Well, great. I'm so glad to have you on today. So big question for you is I always like to start off with, how you got into the space of employee retention and really what drove you into that spot.
Good question. Um, Back around 2010, well, actually, for the past 31 years, I've been working with people to help them build retirement plans. And back around 2010, I was talking with someone, a colleague, who said, there's a physician shortage. And I was working with a lot of physicians because they need the help. And I said, there is? And he says, yeah. So I looked into it, and certainly there was. There was a huge shortage of physicians, and it was growing. So I dug a little deeper, and I noticed that there was a nursing shortage, and it was 5 times, literally 5 times as bad as the physician shortage. So that got my interest going even more. So I dug deeper, and I learned it's not a shortage of physicians. It's not a shortage of nurses. It is literally a shortage of people with skills. This is across all
Mm.
industries and it's nationwide. I mean, it doesn't matter what police officers, if you had any idea how short we were on police officers and first responders, you'd be scared to death. But
Mm.
it's all professions. We don't have enough blue collar workers. We don't have enough carpenters and electricians. We don't have enough accountants, attorneys. If it takes skills, we're coming up short. And at the same time, people are hopping from job to job. It's the law of supply and demand, right? And which is with anything, which means prices go up, meaning pay goes up. But there was a time when people spent their entire career, one, maybe two companies. Why? They wanted that lifetime pension. And they would stay with a company for as long as it took to get it. You know, employers ask me, so I can't find good people. And when I do find them, it's like they leave. I mean, how do you stop people from leaving? I said, hey, it's a free country. You got to give them a reason to stay. And you know what they say? They go, well, we pay really well. It's like, yeah. And you know what they do? They use that high pay that you give them as leverage to get higher pay somewhere else because
Mm.
nobody expects you to make a lateral move. You know, it's like, hey, I'm happy where I am. You want me to move over there? You got to pay me more. So the thing that you thought was going to keep your people, you just shot yourself in the foot with it. Or what about training? You know, people say, oh, the millennials and the younger people and Generation X and Y and Z, they want training. And you should train them and teach them, and it'll make them worth more. Yeah, and it makes them worth more to somebody else too. So you get to pay for their training, somebody else gets the benefit. Where's the fun in that? Or culture. You know, all of these things, by the way, money, culture, training, engagement, they're all good. They matter.
Sure, they do.
But yeah, but they don't stop people from leaving because the bottom line is they still leave.
Mm. Okay, so wait a minute. You've just like sprinkled so much dust on this conversation right now, right? I mean, you talked about all the levers that businesses are using today to try and attract talent. And you started off with your doctors and nurses and police officers, and I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute, is it the cost of school? Is it the training that they need before? But it has absolutely nothing to do with that.
No,
Right?
no, as
It
a matter of
really
fact,
doesn't. It's
yeah.
it-
It,
it's just it's crazy to think that we're in such a competitive market, right? And we see that the employment sales number or employment numbers, look good. They look reasonable. It depends on where you are in the cycle. If you have a job, it feels good. If you don't have a job, it feels miserable. But I think this is a pandemic that we're not aware of.
well, this goes back to World War II. What do I mean by that? The greatest generation came back from World War II. And they got jobs and they went about building America and infrastructure to build roads and the power grid and all that. And they married their sweethearts. And they started having babies. And they had a lot of them. They called it the baby boom. I was one of them. Well, in the 50s and 60s, the baby boomers swelled the population. In the
Mm.
70s and 80s, they flooded the workforce. Employers had all the help they needed. I mean, back then, just to get a job, you needed to know someone in what they called back then the personnel department, now called HR. That was just to get in. And then once people were in, they stayed. Why? Because, like I said before, they wanted that lifetime pension. They wanted that future financial security. Well, so what happened? A few things happened. One, the subsequent generations were smaller in size.
Mm.
And that smaller in size population, a smaller percentage actually has skills. Then in 1978, Congress gave us the Revenue Act. it had this little thing in there called Section 401k. You know what that is.
What is that?
That made that made retirement plans portable. Wall Street saw an opportunity because before then, most people weren't invested in the stock market. They didn't have money in the stock market.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. You
Walt,
can
yeah,
you can truly track that by looking at one simple chart of the Dow Jones or the S&P 500 and watch it just like go whoosh when that
hmm
when yeah, when it actually became available for everybody to participate in. It wasn't just for
by
the
the early 80s, it was the
yeah.
fastest growing retirement plan in America. And Wall Street went to the employers and said, hey, give these baby boomer kids this 401k thing. You can say goodbye to your pensions. And they thought, wow, this is great. We don't have to fund these pensions anymore. And the baby boomers bought it like a school of fish, hook, line, and
Mm-hmm.
sinker. They said, wow, this is great. We don't have to stay at the same company like our parents do. If we want to move, we can leave and take our retirement plan with us. Here we are, almost 50 years later, and almost no one can afford to retire. It's the biggest financial challenge that Americans have. And
Isn't that
two,
the truth?
yeah,
Isn't that the truth?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, you are so right.
turnover, yeah, and turnover, the glue, I mean, the turnover skyrocketed. Why? Because the glue that held employers and employees together was now gone.
Mm.
It's amazing. Pensions had their downside. I mean, they were costly. There was liability and all that. And I'm not
For the
saying bring back
company.
pensions. Yeah,
For
for
the
the
company,
company.
it was very
And
expensive
yeah, right.
for the employer or the recipient, it was free money,
It
but
was
it
free
was
money.
a golden handcuff of sort, right?
Yeah, but no, well, it wasn't completely free. I mean, the
Well,
employees, they contributed to it, and that was
sure.
okay. But here's the problem with that, and just like Social Security, we're living longer. And the longer you
And there's
live,
less people ahead of us, baby boomers, that are feeding the engine, right? Because we fed it
mhm,
for our parents, and our kids are supposed to feed it for us, and their kids will feed it for them, but it's not working much
right?
anymore.
No. And it's taxable.
Mm.
And you have to, and there's
Rules,
the
the
required
rules.
minimum distributions at age 70 and a half,
The
right?
rules.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, why? Because back then, somebody in the think tank in Washington figured out that at
Hey.
some point there'll be more people in retirement than in the workforce because they track the size of the populations and the length of how people are living. But I digress. Back
Okay.
to turnover and retention. Now, how do you keep key
Yeah.
employees? What do you make them stay? Well, here's the thing. Our brains are wired for the future.
Hmm.
Yes. I mean, that's from the earliest formative years.
Wait a minute. Hang on a
Adult,
second. All generations are wired for the future because I'm
all
looking at some of these,
generations.
you know, the my kids, my kids' generation going, are they even thinking about the future? You know, they would rather spend their money today than put it away and save it. So,
That,
are they
right?
really thinking for the future?
They may think of different futures or different parts of you. For example, everybody got the question, what do you be when you want to grow up? Right?
An astronaut.
Yeah. And then they were told, oh, well, study hard in school so you can get into a good college or trade school and then you can get a good career. Now we're thinking more into the future. And I mean, even right down to where you buy your house, who you're going to marry. In other words, what's my future going to be like? And, all of these things. Should I open a business? Oh, if I open that business, what would that be like? All right? You're looking down the road, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're wired for the future.
Okay. Got it.
So,
I agree with that.
yeah. So when people leave, they don't just, I'm going, I don't know where I'm going. They don't do that. They're
They
getting
plan.
offers all the time. No matter where you work for skills, there's another organization down the street or the next state over or wherever that they need bodies too. So they're approaching employees and they say, come
Hmm.
work for us. And
We're better.
the employee thinks, if I stay here, what's it going to be like? If I go over there, what's it going to be like? And the place where their future is stronger, that's where they end up, that's where they stay.
Interesting.
So if you can make it so that the employee has a bright financial future, and I'm talking not only within the company, but after the company, meaning when they retire, because everybody wants a future of financial security. I mean, and those that don't, you don't want them working for you anyway. But just, but no, most people, especially people with skills, people with brains, they want a future of financial security. And so when they think about, if I stay here, what's going to happen to me when I retire, right? How am I? Because here's the thing, not everybody, but most people live a lifestyle equivalent to their income. The more they make, the more they spend, right?
Yes, and
They
and
have,
oftentimes over that, right? Which is why we're
oh,
in such bad credit card debt and loans and all that
yeah,
kind of stuff. Mortgage.
all that stuff.
Hey, quick pause here. If you've ever wondered what your next smartest move should be to grow your business, well, I've built something for you. It's called the Profit Booster Growth Map. It takes only about 2 minutes, it's totally free, and it shows you exactly where you're leaving money on the table and what to fix first. Go grab it for free at profitbooster.biz/growth map. Then come right back to the episode. So
And
let me
so, yeah, go ahead.
hang on a second. So we're talking about the premise of, if you promise a future to your employees, they're going to stay with you. Now, I challenge that can't be the only thing you do, but it is one thing that can really separate you from everybody else that's out there pitching and poaching them, right?
Well, here's the thing. Everybody else, when you talk about retention, everybody else is talking about engagement and culture and money and
I
work from
value your
home,
opinion. You're
all,
here.
all that thing. But that's not what people leave anyway. That's the proof. And if you do what those other companies do, you'll get what
And
they get. You'll get the same result, meaning,
but you should still, I guess what I'm asking is, you should still do those things though,
oh,
right?
yes, they're
Because
great. They matter.
the time that they're in your company, you can make it more enjoyable, more
Absolutely.
rewarding. You can
Absolutely.
get more production out of your team members too,
Hmm.
because that's what some of those levers that you're pulling is trying to get them to really be involved and help you, the business owner, move that boulder up the hill.
Here's the thing.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so
I agree with you. All of those things are important and employers should do them. But what they need is one extra thing so that when they're approached with new opportunities, they go, I'm happy where I am here. I got a good future here. I'm staying. It really
so it's
boils
not a
down to
but, it's
that.
an and.
Yeah.
It's an
And
and.
it's an and.
And if you have something that keeps them, for all scary and purposes, we're talking to business owners, so I think we can use this language. If we keep them leashed or attached to the company, then they're going to stay longer because they have other decisions that have to be made if they're going to leave, right? What are they leaving on the table when they walk away,
Oh,
right?
I almost forgot the most important thing. What I teach is how to create this future. But if they leave, they don't get to take it with them.
Ah,
They
okay.
leave it, they leave it. So, in other words, it's not portable. This is one, merit based. You only do this for the employees that you don't want to lose. They
Mm,
have to earn it. And
got
one,
it.
they earn it by doing good work, being
Being a key
responsible,
employee.
being a key employee. And then they earn it by their commitment to the company to stay. And there's an agreement between the employee and the employer. The employer says, we'll do this for you
If
if you will stay with us. If you stay with us for X amount of years, we'll provide you with financial security for life. You know,
wow.
here's the bottom line. Think of it this way. The company comes to you, you're an employee, and they say, we like you. We want you to stay. If you stay, we're going to create a future of financial security. You'll have all of the benefits and all the competitive income and competitive benefits that you have now and more. But then at the end of the day, when you want to retire, you'll have a comfortable retirement for as long as you live. That's a pretty tough thing to say no to. And if your
I
company's giving
agree.
it to you, that's almost impossible to walk away from.
This sounds amazing, right? And it sounds like it's the right thing to do as well for companies wanting to take care of their team members. But again, it's like, all right, we want to keep key employees, right? We want to keep the important ones that we really want, right? It's not for everybody, right? The delivery
No,
guy or the receptionist or, the salesperson, unless they're a fantastic salesperson that you never want to leave. But it's also something that is truly, as you mentioned, not available to everybody out there unless you go to work for the government, right? Yay. Or right. And who says that plan is any better? But it's one piece of many things that you can do to keep those highly qualified, skilled employees that you want as part of your team for the long run,
yeah. Let
right?
me
I
give you a
mean,
quick
we all
example.
know the business owner doesn't make a company just because they're a business owner. It is the employees that help make that business what it can be. And so why not reward them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, this goes beyond just keeping employees. This goes beyond giving the population the things that they need. Like, for example, you go to rural areas, this is where it becomes a matter of national security. We get our food from rural America. I mean, I've been to New York, I've been to Los Angeles, I've been to Chicago. I've never seen them raising cattle on Main Street. They don't grow corn in the middle of Times Square.
Nope.
We get our food out there in the countryside.
Mm,
And out there, there's people. They're spread out, but there's a lot of people and they need health care.
mm.
And rural hospitals and rural clinics are very sparsely, are far apart. And when an organization loses a physician, maybe it's a specialist. And now the local population doesn't have a doctor to go to. They might have to literally travel 100 miles just to get
That's
treatment.
scary.
Yeah. When you talk about first responders
Mm,
and firefighters and police officers, and it takes them time to get there, one of the reasons is there aren't enough of them to go around. We don't have
mm.
enough of them. So it really becomes a matter of national security. Right now, as we speak, in Groton, Connecticut, they're building the next generation of nuclear submarines. This is an amazing project. They're
Huh?
building the Virginia class and they're building the Columbia class. Virginia class, about over 300 feet long. It's enormous. The Columbia class, that's fast attack submarines that also bring our Navy SEALs to close into shore. Then there's the Columbia class. It's literally over 500 feet long, nuclear
Wow.
armed. It's amazing. But here's where the problem is. Right now, they have 80 to 85,000 employees in the shipyards there. They need 140,000. Their
Mm,
turnover rate is 20 to 22% of the regular shipyard workers and up to 30% for the in-demand skills.
wow.
Why? Because over half of that workforce is over age 50 and they're retiring. And the younger ones, they bring them in, they have absolutely zero skills and they train them. And it takes about 4 years just to train a welder to get up to journeyman level skill set to build a submarine, to work on a submarine. I mean, it's different than your local body shop. And they
Right.
get up to that skill set, and it's not easy work. It's tough work. They get to that skill set level and they leave. So they're
What is,
losing it from both. In 2018, they allocated 5.7 billion with a B for workforce development.
wow.
They put most of it into training and recruitment and not enough, they didn't pay enough attention to retention. So it's like trying to fill a bucket full of water that's filled, that's got holes in the bottom. I mean, you just keep pouring it in, pouring it in, pouring it, and it keeps pouring out the bottom. What if you plug the holes in the bottom of that bucket? You pour the water in and it stays. I plug those holes.
Love
That's
it.
why it's,
You know
yeah.
what it's just thinking differently. Obviously having some solutions that help with that, but thinking differently about how to keep those employees that are important to your business and the ways that you can bring them in and attract them, obviously, because this is also an attraction factor. Hey, if you come on board, this is what I can promise you, right? You get this kind of work
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, you get this, you get that, you get all these bells and whistles that the competition has, and you get a lifetime retirement plan, which to me sounds like an amazing offer to attract people as well as keeping them, so they don't leave.
Simply put, you want to put it in the simplest terms, come spend your career with us and we'll pay you for the rest of your life.
Wow,
That's
that
a
is
good
beautiful.
deal every time.
So now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so as a business owner, there's two challenges I'm facing. Well, what happens, A, if I don't like this employee after I give them this thing? How do I get out of it? Now they want to stay forever because they're promised this golden parachute, right? How do I get out of this as a business owner if I don't like John Q or
Excellent
Susie D?
question. Excellent question. And you fix that in the contract.
Okay.
And you put language in there that this is the employer's discretion. And the employee agrees to have a at least some minimum level of
Assurance.
assurance and quality and so on. The other piece is you give it to the employees that you know that are good
So it doesn't have to be
employees.
an entry thing. It can be something that is awarded later on when I find that I
Yeah,
really like John
yeah.
and want to keep him on.
You could use this to attract new employees who are concerned about their retirement, and that'd be most of them, and say, after 2 years, we start this, you become eligible. Not that we give it to you,
Yeah.
you have to earn it. You become eligible to enter into this program or to this
Okay.
benefit that we offer. So you have full discretion either way of how to do
Good.
this. Let me go one step further though. Most business owners view the sale of their business as their retirement plan. So, right? All right.
Yes.
So, and you mentioned this earlier. It's like it's the people that make the companies great. So they build this company and it's worth however many millions of dollars. And the analysts say it's worth X and X. And so the buyer comes in and he looks around and he sees what the analysts say and the price is here. So why is he offering a price drastically lower than what the analysts say? Because the biggest club that the buyer has to hit the seller over the head with is the key employees. And he says, you got a great operation here. Who are your key employees? And the employer points them out. And he says, what's to stop any of them, or all of them for that matter, from walking out the door the minute I take control of the company? And the people that implement something like this, a retention plan of this type, they say, Mr. or Ms. Seller, you don't have to worry about our key employees going anywhere. They're committed to staying with this company for the next 10, 15 years. Our price is X, and that's where it stays. And the
Mm.
buyer says, you
Oh,
know, you just took all the risk out of it for me. Let's
I
make a
love
deal.
it. I love it, which is so important. They know where the skeletons are in the closet. They know the customers. They know the processes and angles. They know everything that they should know. And yes, that is one of the biggest fears sellers have is telling the team because they'll usually pack up and go look for the next job right then and there. And so
Right.
that's a huge risk that you're taking off the table. So I love that you added that into this story because there's many benefits to the company by keeping the employee because I mean as we said in the intro it can be very expensive to hire somebody and
Oh,
train them and get them going, let alone trying to find the ones that are qualified, right?
I'm glad you brought that up. Turnover is the biggest hidden cost that a company has. It costs over 200% of salary to replace a person with skills. And most of that is not deductible, those costs. You might deduct your recruiting costs or your price of your recruiter or your ads. But how do you deduct lost production? Or you lose a superstar salesperson who's producing more than everybody else. How do you deduct lost sales? Or the customer who walks out the door because every time he or she came into the door, it was somebody different and there's no
Mm,
relationship there. I mean,
exactly. I know a few
sometimes it's,
companies like
yeah,
that.
oh, it's unbelievable. But when you have that customer service person, that it's the same person they see every time, that's part of branding.
Hmm.
Branding is an expectation. And
Yes.
your customers can walk into your place and they can expect a certain level of quality. Or they can expect to see a new face every time and the person they're dealing with is brand new and they don't know anything. And what they want is stability. They want reliability, especially if the company's selling some type of high end product or something that's important or key. And many times people go to a place simply because they like the people who are there.
Yeah.
They got a
Yeah.
relationship with them. They walk in, they call them by their first name, and
And you know what?
it's
I think
nice.
that's the really important that's a really important aha right here is that your brand is represented by your employees, not the logo or the sign on the door or the website or what have you. It's the people. And if you
Mm-hmm.
want your brand to change frequently, then don't take care
Mm-hmm.
of your employees. If you want your brand to stay and really represent what it is that you stand for and the quality you bring, then you want to keep those people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good stuff.
So it has so many things across the board by just keeping your good people and making sure that they want to stay, and
Mm.
by giving. I'll give you one more example. The AMA came out with a series of studies. They're still doing. The first one was the 2013, the financial preparedness of all U.S. physicians. The guys earning 200,000 and up. They found that half of the top financial concern of all U.S. physicians is having enough money for a comfortable retirement, and that half considered themselves behind in their retirement. And if you're a hospital or you're a clinic, when are you not going to have a need for good doctors? I mean, you're always going to need them. You're always going to want them.
Yes.
And they know the patients. And the other piece that you lose when people leave is the knowledge base.
Mm.
The things that
So
they do.
good.
Like, for example, you take a small rural clinic. There might be 5 or 6 people there. It's a team. Everybody has their job, from the billing people to the receptionist out front, to the physician's assistant, and the nurse. And they all know exactly what they do. But there's no backup when you have a team that small. And when one person leaves, everything
The whole thing falls
changes.
apart. Yep. The whole thing falls
Everything
apart.
changes. I mean, these people are dedicated. So they pull themselves up by their bootstraps and they try and fill the gap. But after a while, it wears on you after a while. And after a while, everybody is running on empty. And you know
Mm.
who feels it? The patients.
Mm.
They feel it in not as good quality of care because the place is always short staffed
And
and,
I
and
think
so on.
the key here to it is the relationship. I think that when you're whether you're a physician or you're a company that gets frequent visits, or you're a financial professional, or you're a tradesman, or you've got these skills, people expect that relationship with the person they deal with.
Yeah.
And so when you're a business and you change that relationship on your customers all the time, they tend to notice that very quickly. So
Oh,
this is a key value that you can provide to keep your employees happy and, more importantly, keep your customers happy, patients happy, the people that use your products and services happy so that they continuously come back. So I think for me, that's it. It's not just trying to reward and keep the best employee, but it trickles out. Like you drop a pebble in the water and the rings keep going out and out. And these benefits of keeping a really high performing, high quality employee just ripples out through the community and everywhere.
I got a story that'll resonate with a lot of the listeners out there.
Okay. So my problem is you and I can have stories that go on for days, David.
Yes,
So
we
I
can.
have to put a Heisman up on this one and go, wait a minute. We've got a wrap on this. I know
Okay.
listeners are just dying to hear this story, plus more ideas on how they can do it, whether it's cost effective for them, if it's out of reach, is it easily? And I'm guessing it's not. But how can listeners find out more about you and creating a fantastic retention plan for their important people in their company?
Very simple. They go to talentretentionplans.com. That's talent retention plans, and plans is plural.com. They'll find out more about me, what I do, but they'll also be able to download what's called a turnover cost calculator. And it's free. I had this developed because most people don't realize the cost of turnover. Whether you're a small mom and pop operation with just a few employees, or you're a hospital with 3,000 employees. I've seen turnover software, it shows the percentage of turnover, but it doesn't show the cost in dollars. And that's the important one. This shows you the cost in dollars when you lose an employee or a group of employees. And what you're going to see is we take a fraction of those dollars and we invest it into our key employees. And then we build this thing so that we recover our investment and then some. So it's not a cost the way we develop it. It's literally an investment in your business, in your employees, and in America.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thanks, David. This is great. All right, listeners, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you are walking away with a few practical ideas that you can put into your business to make it more profitable, more valuable, and be able to retain those really important people in your company. All right, before we go, if you want to have a clearer path to more revenue and stronger profit, go grab the free Profit Booster Growth Map. It'll quickly show you the top opportunities to grow your revenue and stop those profit leaks that may be holding your business back. Go get yours anytime after the show at profitbooster.biz. And if this episode gave you value, be sure to subscribe and share it with other business owners who need to hear it. And I'll see you on next week's show with more strategies to help you grow a smarter and more profitable business. Until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thank you so very much, David.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.